Another video for you with new stories from Ethiopia and neighboring countries. First news story is a breaking news from Sudan, where we know that since October last year, state of emergency has been imposed. But in a very encouraging development today, Abdul Fattah al-Burhan, Sudanese army chief and head of Sovereignty Council, announced the lifting of state of emergency. Second news story is from Tigray, viewers. Tigray is in dire need of food aid. We have a video clip for you from a town which is very close to Eritrean border. It's right on Tigray-Eritrea border. This town was without food aid for 6 months, and today, for the first time in 6 months, food aid arrived in this town. Third news story is from Djibouti, Ethiopia trade relations. Ethiopia relies heavily on Djibouti's ports for its imports and exports. It seems that Ethiopia is exploring other options. It's using other options as well. It's diversifying its use of other countries' ports. Last 10 months data shows that Ethiopian use of Djibouti's ports is dropping, and now Ethiopia is turning towards other ports as well in Somaliland, in Kenya. Fourthly, viewers, Iskandar Naga of Baldiras party is in the US. We know he has announced to return. Before his return to Ethiopia, he is planning a major demonstration in front of Ethiopian embassy in Washington DC. When will this demonstration be held? And lastly, viewers, unconfirmed reports are being shared about Yilkal, Kifale, Amhara region's president, that he has been hospitalized. He is under pressure. Demake Mekonnen has arrived in Bahirda, reportedly Foreign Minister, Deputy Prime Minister of Ethiopia. What's happening in Amhara region? We will try to analyze this development in detail. First news story is from Sudan, because we know that in 2019, Umar al-Bashir, Sudanese long-time ruler, was removed from power. Sudan's military remained in control of the country for years, but even after the removal of Umar al-Bashir, military remained in command, in control in Sudan. Then last year in October, Abdul Fattah al-Burhan, Sudanese army chief and head of Sudan's Sovereignty Council, tried to stage a coup. Abdullah Hamdok, Prime Minister, was put under house arrest. Later, he was released. He signed an agreement with Abdul Fattah al-Burhan, but he lost the support of protesters and he resigned. Meanwhile, protests started, and since October, we have been seeing protests on weekly basis in Sudan against military. Protesters want no role of military in Sudanese politics, and we have seen several efforts from the US, the UN, Middle Eastern countries, IGAD, Eritrea, to find a political solution to the ongoing political and economic crisis, because Sudan's economy is suffering as well. Inflation, price of food items, unemployment very high. One of the poorest countries on earth is now Sudan. So problems, economic problems, political problems, military, civilian tussle. Several players are trying to play the role, but A positive development that today Abdul Fattah al-Burhan, Sudanese army chief, lifted state of emergency which was imposed in October when Abdul Fattah al-Burhan tried to stage a coup. Since October, we know that around 100 protesters have been killed in protests, and unknown number of protesters have been put in prison as well. Protesters are demanding the release of political prisoners too. So the first good step, first positive step, that state of emergency has been lifted. Political prisoners could be released as well, and this step could lead to start of a national dialogue to find a way out of this political and economic crisis in Sudan. Second news story is from Tigray views. In Tigray, millions of people are in dire need of food aid. Tigray has been under a blockade, under a siege for more than a year now. Still, delivery of aid to Tigray is very slow. We have a video clip for you. The clip is from a town where no aid arrived in almost 6 months. People remained without food for 6 months, viewers. This town is right on Tigray-Eritrea border. The name of the town is Shiraro. Here, an organization, Samaritan's Purse, managed to reach with food aid. You would see that still there is no fuel. People can be seen using animal carts to distribute, to transport this aid, which arrived there in the form of cereals, vegetables, cooking oil, and other stuff. But no fuel, so no vehicles. Animal carts are being used to transport this food aid. At least food aid has arrived in a town which was without food aid for almost 6 months. Watch this video from Shiraro town of Tigray.
Hi, I am Salim. We are here in Shiraro distributing for 33,000 IDPs with cereals, peas, and vegetable oils for 45 days. And this is the first distribution for the last 6 months, and people are happy to receive this food.
God bless you. Thank you so much for your prayers and support in allowing us to do this work. And as hard as it is, a time for many.
Thirdly, viewers, Ethiopia is decreasing its use of Djibouti's ports. Ethiopia is a landlocked country. It relies heavily on Djibouti's ports for its imports and exports. Ethiopia uses Djibouti's Djibouti port and Tadjora port. Last 10 months, statistics show that Ethiopian use of Djibouti port has declined by 14.6%. Ethiopia is exploring its using other options as well. Moyale port in Kenya and Berbera port in Somaliland are also being used by Ethiopian government. That is why Djibouti port use has decreased by 14.6%. Obviously, it will have an impact on Djibouti's economy. Djibouti has been demanding for increase in tariffs, and Ethiopia has been resisting this increase. A few days ago, we know that there were tensions between Ethiopian and Djibouti governments because Ethiopia was planning to use Ethiopia-Djibouti railway line for transportation of fuel. Djibouti has not been showing interest in the completion of the project for transportation of fuel. It was instead demanding a 15-year binding agreement that for 15 years Ethiopia will not use any other port for transportation of fuel. That is why there were tensions between Ethiopia and Djibouti. Now, Ethiopia is trying to diversify its use of ports. It's relying on ports of Kenya, Somaliland, and maybe Eritrean ports could be used as well. Fourthly, viewers, Iskandar Naga is in the US, head of Baldira's party. He has announced to return in coming days. He is due to return to Ethiopia. Before that, he is planning a major protest in the US. Mobilization is underway and flyers are being distributed. A social media campaign has been launched. The protest will be held in front of Ethiopian embassy in Washington, D.C. On Saturday, this demonstration will be held. And the demonstration is being held against government's action ongoing in the Amhara region, where Fano fighters are being disarmed, they are being arrested. Community activists are being detained, journalists are being arrested. So, through this protest, Iskandar Naga is trying to mobilize anti-Ethiopian government diaspora, especially Amhara diaspora, which has become disgruntled with Ethiopian government in recent months. So, it would be interesting to see how many persons will participate in this protest on Saturday. Lastly, viewers, unconfirmed reports are being shared that Yilkal Kifale, Amhara president, has been hospitalized. He has been under pressure. It is being said that he is not wholeheartedly pursuing the objective of disarming Fano, and federal government is not happy with Amhara region's president. Damake Mekonnen, another Amhara leader, deputy prime minister and foreign minister of Ethiopia, reportedly has arrived in Bahir Dar. Some discussions were held that campaign against Fano is losing momentum. Yilkal Kifale refused reportedly to intensify campaign against Fano. There were some disagreements, and then reportedly Yilkal Kifale was hospitalized. A few days ago, people from the government shared information with me. They said Yilkal was considering resigning. He was not happy. Yilkal is from Gajam, I think. He's not from Gondar. And Gajam is the zone where this ongoing military campaign against Fano is being seen. And in Gajam, emotions are running high against Amhara regional government, Ethiopian federal government. We reported that Fano fighters are trying to start an armed resistance in Gajam. So, Yilkal is from Gajam, and Gajam-Gondar rivalry has been going on for years in Amhara region. Now, it seems that he is under pressure. Federal government wants him to disarm Fano, to take action against Fano. On the other hand, if this action goes on, the region will become destabilized. Yilkal will lose support in Gajam. Maybe that is why he wants a safe exit through this hospitalization. Maybe we could see some change of leadership in Amhara region in coming days. Thank you for watching.